They will try to pull you into the storm, but you are no longer made of the same material. Where once you were reactive, now you are rooted. Where once you crumbled under the weight of judgment, betrayal, chaos, now you stand like the mountain, because something within you has awakened. Not a weapon, not an armor, but a knowing that nothing outside of you has power unless you hand it over, and today you take it back. Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." Quote, "Dote. The moment you stop trying to control everything out there and start exploring what lies in here, the game changes. Not slightly, entirely. This is not about indifference. It is not about apathy or disconnection. It's about transcendence, the quiet mastery of the self, where nothing and nobody can shake you. Not because you've shut down, but because you've woken up. The world will try to trigger you. That's what it does. People will project their shadows onto you, trying to make you feel small, so they don't have to confront their own. But here's the truth. Jung uncovered that few have the courage to accept. What irritates you about others is a reflection of something unresolved within, and what you fear in the world is a mirror of what you refuse to face in yourself. So the moment you stop running, the moment you face it all, you reclaim your sovereignty. Of psychological liberations. It starts when you stop blaming, stop defending, stop resisting what is, and begin to observe. To observe without reaction is the highest power. To witness your mind, your body, your emotions, not as who you are, but as data, signals, stories. You are not the thoughts. You are the awareness beneath them. You are not the emotion. You are the ocean that contains them. When you know this, when you live this, you become untouchable. They used to call you sensitive, emotional, weak, but sensitivity, Jung taught, is not a flaw. It is a gift, a compass pointing you inward, because the truth is, the more sensitive you are to the world, the deeper you're being called to know yourself. You're not here to escape emotion. You're here to master your relationship with it. Most people are enslaved by their reactions, triggered by words, caught in comparison, hijacked by fear, but not you. Because now you see the pattern, you see the loop, and you see the doorway out. That doorway is awareness, radical awareness, not judgment, not condemnation, not suppression, but presence. When someone insults you, ask yourself, what inside me is reacting? When rejection burns, ask, what part of me felt unseen? Not to shame it, to understand it. Jung called this shadow work, the process of integrating the parts of yourself you've disowned. And make no mistake, until you do this, the world will keep showing you what you refuse to see in others, in circumstances, in crises. The external is the eternal echo of the internal. And once you realize that, nobody holds power over you again. Let them gossip. Let them misunderstand you. Let them walk away. Let the doors close. Because what's meant for your path will never require you to abandon yourself. You don't need validation from those who can't see your depth. You don't need applause from the crowd when your soul is aligned with the higher path. You only need one thing: clarity. Clarity is the new power. Clarity is what gives you silence in the noise. Clarity is what makes you immune to manipulation. Because once you know who you are, no one can tell you otherwise. But clarity isn't given. It's forged. Forged in solitude, in silence, in suffering. Even when you sit with your wounds long enough to understand them. When you stop distracting yourself from your own inner voice, that's when the fog clears. Carl Jung wasn't afraid of the dark. He ventured into it, he listened to it, and he emerged not with perfection but with wholeness. This is the path, not to become untouchable by hiding, but to become untouchable by becoming whole. You stop being affected by the world when you stop outsourcing your identity to it. You stop being reactive when you stop confusing the moment for the truth. Every emotion is a messenger. Every trigger is a teacher. And every fall is a forge. If you dare to look closer, you'll find that the people who once hurt you were mirrors, not of your worth, but of your wounds. They came to show you where you were still dependent, still fractured, still vulnerable to the opinions of others. And now you get to decide, will you stay in the cycle or will you rise? Power is not loud. Power is not force. Power is not control. Real power is presence. Real power is the ability to choose your response when every part of you wants to react. Real power is walking through chaos, not because you're suppressing, but because you've seen beyond it. People ask how to become confident, how to stop caring what others think, how to protect their peace. The answer is not in pretending. It's not in affirmations alone. It's in integration. It's in knowing your own depths so intimately that no one else's opinion can shake you. Because when you know yourself, you realize something profound. Still, most of what people project onto you isn't personal. It's their programming, their pain, their own unhealed wounds. And when you stop taking it personally, you become free. You don't need to fix the world. You need to understand your own. You don't need to change everyone's mind. You need to change your relationship with your own thoughts. There's a place within you that is untouched by the world. Carl Jung called it the self, the center of your being, beyond ego, beyond fear. Most people never meet it. They live on the surface, tossed by the waves of opinion, addiction, distraction. But you felt the call to go deeper, to sit in silence until the truth reveals itself, to listen, not just to your thoughts, but to what lies beneath them. This is not an easy path. It requires death. Death of the identity you built to survive. Death of the persona you wore to be accepted. Death of the belief that something out there will save you. But with that death comes rebirth. You are not here to please. You are not here to conform. You are here to transform. And transformation is always preceded by disruption. You'll lose people. You'll lose habits. You'll lose versions of yourself. But you'll gain something greater. A center that cannot be moved. And once you find that center, the entire world could be on fire. And still, you will breathe. Because your peace no longer depends on the absence of noise. It is born from the presence of depth. Jung understood this better than most. He ventured into the unconscious, not to escape life, but to understand it. He knew that wholeness does not come from chasing light, but by learning to dance with the dark. And when you stop fearing the dark, nothing can use it against you. That's the secret. What you suppress controls you. What you face frees you. So the anger, face it. The envy, feel it. The sadness, let it speak. Don't push it away. Don't numb it. Bring it into the light. Examine it. Trace it back. Who taught you that you had to be perfect to be loved? Who made you believe your worth depended on performance? Who convinced you that your emotions were too much? Because until you ask these questions, you'll keep reacting to ghosts. Ghosts of past rejection, ghosts of childhood pain, ghosts of a story that was never truly yours. But now, the pen is in your hand, and you are no longer a character in someone else's script. You are the author, the architect, the alchemist. This isn't about turning into someone new. It's about getting back to who you were before the world started telling you who to be, before the labels, before the masks, before you gave up your real self just to be accepted. Yeah, it hurts, this whole process of remembering. But the pain isn't your enemy. Pain points the way. It shows you where the healing needs to happen. At least so, when life breaks, you open. Don't rush to cover it up. Let it split you deeper into what's true. Let it peel away what no longer fits. Peeler Brada says, let it remind you that your worth has nothing to do with how others see you, and everything to do with how clearly you see yourself. Because when you really see yourself, when you face all your shadows, when you stop running from what's real, you become solid. Nothing outside of you can shake you when you're steady inside. No words can cut you when you've already met your soul. No loss, no betrayal, no silence can knock you down when you've made peace with being alone. You stop reacting. You stop being a puppet pulled by old wounds and triggers. You become the one watching, the one choosing, the calm in the middle of it all, Zelly. And from that place, you don't just get by, you lead, not from ego, not by pretending to be strong, but with something deeper, with a presence that unsettles the surface level, with integrity that calls out the the fake, with stillness that throws chaos off its game. Oh, this is the kind of strength Jung was talking about. Not power over others, but the power that comes from wholeness. Because once you've put all your pieces together, no one can mess with you. Now you've looked at your fear, you've felt your grief, you've owned your jealousy, your anger, your confusion, and by doing that, you've taken their power away. You're not hiding anymore. And because of that, you're no longer at the mercy of people who still are. They may try to provoke you, they may test you, but you will not bite. Because when you no longer need to defend your identity, you conserve your energy. When you no longer chase validation, you reclaim your power. And when you no longer seek to be understood, you find true understanding within. This is emotional maturity. This is psychological resilience. This is spiritual sovereignty. And it doesn't mean you won't feel. It means you won't be ruled by what you feel. You'll still have moments of anger, moments of sadness, moments of doubt, but now they'll pass through you. Because you won't cling to them, you'll feel them, honor them, and let them go. That is the dance. That is the work. That is the freedom. You don't need to win arguments. You don't need to prove your worth. You don't need to explain your journey to those who never walked it. Because when you are grounded in your truth, no outside noise can distort it. Free kids. And when you are connected to your soul, no rejection can disconnect you from your path. Carl Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." Quote. And that journey, the journey of becoming, is not about adding more. It's about peeling back the layers, unlearning, releasing, until all that remains is essence, authentic, whole, undeniable. And in that state, nothing and nobody will ever affect you the same way again. There comes a moment when you stop asking the world to change, forced, and you begin changing your relationship with the world. You stop chasing peace like a destination and start embodying it as a state. You stop begging for love and start becoming love itself. You stop fearing what others think and start trusting what you know. This is what Carl Jung meant by individuation, the lifelong process of becoming your true self, not your ego mask, not the personality you adopted to survive, but the self. The unshakable core of who you were before the world told you who to be. And when you reach that place, you stop being affected because you're no longer asleep. You see clearly. You love deeply. You speak truthfully. And most of all, you walk freely. Not because everything around you is easy, but because everything within you is aligned. You're not fighting shadows. You're not chasing ghosts. You're not trying to win wars that don't exist. You are present. And in that presence, nothing outside of you can disturb the stillness you've cultivated within. This is not some motivational fantasy. This is a psychological awakening, a spiritual reckoning, a return to wholeness. You've walked through fire, you've sat in the silence, you've cried the tears that never had a witness, and still you rose. Now you wear your scars like armor, not to shield you, but to remind you of your strength. The old version of you would have snapped. The old version of you would have lashed out, would have folded under pressure, would have crumbled from a single word, a single look, a single rejection. But that version no longer drives this life. That version has been integrated, transformed, loved, released, and the one standing here now is not easily moved, not easily fooled, not easily broken, because you've done what most never dare to do. You went inward. You faced the monsters. You held space for the pain. You peeled away the layers of illusion until all that remained was truth. Let the world spin. Let the noise rise. Let the opinions clash and the chaos scream. You do not have to join the storm because you've become the eye of it. You no longer react. You respond. You no longer panic. You observe. You no longer resist. You trust. That's not weakness. That's mastery. It takes far more strength to pause than to strike, far more wisdom to walk away than to dominate, far more courage to stand in silence than to speak just to be heard. You've found your anchor, and because of that, that, you no longer drown in shallow waters. Yes, people will still try to trigger you. They'll still misunderstand you. They'll still project onto you what they cannot face in themselves. But you don't take the bait anymore because you know who you are. So, and more importantly, you know who they're not. Their words cannot penetrate your peace. Their rejection cannot shake your foundation. Their chaos cannot access your center. You have exited the cycle, and now you walk with grace, with grounded confidence, with unshakable dignity, not because you're above anyone, but because you are finally with yourself. Jung taught us that healing isn't about becoming perfect. It's about becoming whole, owning the dark and the light, holding compassion for your past and courage for your future. And when you do that, you become powerful in the quietest, most profound way, not by controlling the external, but by transcending it. That is when nothing and nobody will affect you the way they once did, because they're no longer touching your wounds. They're touching your wisdom. Let them talk. Let them judge. Let them misunderstand. Let them walk away, because you are finally home. And once a person finds that place within, no storm, no betrayal, no chaos can ever take it away. You have remembered who you are, and that changes everything.